Hello, and welcome, dear listeners. Connectivity. I am your host, Charlie the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the man who is just aching to be spoiled for all that lies ahead of him.
Fill me in Perich.
That's him. Hello, Tristan. What happened again? Oh, yes. He's watching our podcast live. He's watching it live!
Recording.
Yes, okay. Go watch yourself say it's just recording in another room. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a lot to talk about. We have comic books and we have ridiculous fan theories. But not about the movie that came out today. We're going to talk about that Sunday night. Be there to learn all of the secrets of the Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Capes and Lunatics episode 60.
Yes. Movie club. Anyway, so Phil, would you like to talk ridiculous fan theories or comic books first?
I don't know. Why don't we talk some comic books?
Okay, let's talk comic books. Oh, you know what? Okay, so the biggest news in comic books this week was that, well, okay, actually there are two. The other one, we'll get to that in a minute. It's all DC stuff. So but that's not a comic book, it's comic book news related. But the first issue is DC decided to spoil itself, you know.
Yeah, well, me and Lilith were talking about this. I don't know if they actually spoiled it or the New York Times spoiled it, because it supposedly came from the New York Times.
It came from the New York Times because DC told the New York Times.
Yeah.
DC's statement was they felt that it was going to be spoiled anyway, and they wanted to get ahead of it by actively spoiling it.
And it was weird. It was like Sunday. Was it like, I think it was Sunday, and then the book didn't come out till Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because what they said was, well, as soon as it, and okay, so here's the thing. I think they did their spoiler to distract from what was the actual spoiler. Because the spoiler was that Batman and Catwoman don't get married.
Nope.
And what they said was that basically as soon as the books went out, which I guess happens on Mondays, you know, so I guess some retailers get it on Monday, or I guess maybe even people, I guess the guys at what is it, Black Diamond or Double Diamond or whatever it is, that I guess some of the guys on the trucks maybe read these things before they distribute them to the
They might have, I mean, I know my store usually gets them on Tuesdays, I guess, so he has time, so when he opens Wednesday, everything's on the shelf and everything's pulled for people. But this was 4th of July week too, so I wonder if maybe some stores even got them earlier, like on a Monday, you know, we're getting them Monday. Because some people, because some stores were going to do like midnight, Tuesday at midnight parties, you know, like release things for these, and then a lot canceled after that spoiler went out.
Yes, so they gave the spoiler, and like I said, I think that there is this other aspect to it, because the real thing is why Catwoman decides not to go to the wedding. And I have to say, this is like the worst. Basically, I think they let me write this book and didn't tell me. It really emphasizes what a horrible human being Batman must be. Because literally her argument is, oh no, you see, if I marry you, then you'll be happy. And if you're happy, you won't be Batman anymore.
You won't be effective, yes.
Which is like, first off, it's like, maybe I'd like to be happy instead, you know?
And like, my point was, how do we know? We've never seen a happy Batman. How do you know he wouldn't be effective? But I think it's that ending, that putting the monkey wrench and everything.
Well, I actually haven't read the book yet, so I'm getting this only on spoilers, so.
Do you know what the ending is?
I know they don't get married, and I know that Catwoman's reason for leaving the Otter is because she's afraid it would make him happy if she marries him. That if he's happy, he won't be a good Batman.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the ending seems to point at a plot, that there are outside forces outside forces involved.
Okay, is it one of the 3 Jokers?
Do you want the spoiler?
Oh, I don't read Batman.
Okay. Well, spoiler alert, if anyone cares. Seems like it's a plot by Bane.
To convince Catwoman not to marry
I guess, because remember, Joker attacked Catwoman last issue and the issue before there's Joker. All the villains are there. He even has, I mean, Bane was fighting for him for a while. Psycho Pirate, who can like manipulate emotions and like people's minds to a certain degree, so.
Okay, so maybe we're gonna get that wedding. Maybe it's gonna be a Vegas wedding.
Well, that's what they were saying, because like, I don't know, Tom King, the writer of this, was like all mad that, you know, they spoiled it, because he's like, it's out of context, and then supposedly this is like only a halfway point of this big 100-issue plan he has, and it's like, are people really going to stick around for another 50 issues after they felt like they were bamboozled?
Well, you know, but this is is DC's problem. And I don't even understand. And this is, because this ties into that other comic book story I was talking about at DC, which is that they're going to start advertising the new Bendis run on TV. First off, I've never, maybe like once I've seen a comic book advertised on TV, and I think it was like some death of Captain America got advertised on TV or something of that nature. It's just weird to me that they've decided they have to advertise Superman on TV to let people know that Bendis is writing Superman, which is weird to me because, first off, it's not like people don't know who Superman is, and it's not like people know who Bendis is. Like, the people who know who Bendis is know he's writing Superman.
Well, that's what was my problem. I'm like, wasn't the whole thing with the big ads and everything? It's like, Bendis is the big name. Bendis is coming to DC. So it's like, okay, well, if you're going to do commercials, why do the big name instead? Why don't you show some support for your lesser known creators or books? Like I was telling Lilith, wouldn't it make sense to hey, during the Flash TV show, do commercials for Flash comics, or during Arrow, do commercials for Green Arrow comics?
Well, theoretically, I suppose the entire TV show is supposed to be a commercial for the comics, that when you're watching Green Arrow, you're supposed to say, hey, maybe I should see what's going on in the Green Arrow
flash up some recent covers of that series and be like, hey, love the show, go down to your local comic shop, pick up.
Yeah, you know what they need to have, at the end of all the old 80s historical, that have a time travel show that have the kid come out at the end and say, if you'd like to know more about ancient Rome, go to your local library. They should say, if you'd like to know more about the Flash, go to your local comic book store.
There you go. And
that would be great. Yeah. They really should end every episode with that.
I mean, you can even promote Batman and Detective Comics during Gotham.
Well, yeah. I
don't know if this whole commercial thing is because Lilith said she has an inside source at DC who's saying supposedly Bendis' Man of Steel run wasn't doing the numbers that they thought it was going to do.
No, of course it's not.
No.
Not for nothing. It was overhyped. I know. You got to ignore it. There's a puppet show in the background for those of you who pay for the live feed or don't pay for the live feed. If you watch the live feed, there's all this work and artistry going on in the background. You'll love it.
But anyway, yeah, Bendis' last Man of Steel came out this week, and it's just we find out what happened to Lois and John.
Okay.
They went off with
what happened?
Well, Jor-El, remember Jor-El was Mr. Oz?
Yeah.
He shows up they finally reveal he showed up at their apartment. He's like, I want to take John and teach him and all this and blah 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 blah. And they're like, well, we're not just gonna let you take our son. So Lois decides to go with them, and then Superman's like, well, I can't leave Earth. They're only gone for the summer for 3 months. Okay, so Supergirl and the Justice League can't take your place for 3 months, Superman? You're that important? And I'm like,
it's not like he can't fly faster than light. That if it's like, oh, okay, I'll be back.
And I'm like, you're gonna let Lois and John go with this guy who just a couple months ago you were weren't 100% sure this Mr. Oz was your father. You were trying to get proof either way, and I still don't think they ever definitively proved it. So this guy who claims to be your father, you're just gonna let your wife and son go off with him? Supposedly they gave him a communicator, but convenient plot point, as Lilith says, it gets destroyed in the battle with Rogol-Zar, who no one cared about. So now Superman can't call his wife and son, and conveniently can't call his dad and say, hey, did you ever hear about this guy called Rogol-Zar who wants to destroy everything Kryptonian? Bendis. And then the last page of Man of Steel number 6, which ties right into Superman number 1 that comes out next week. There's a string of arsons going on. There's a string of arsons going on in Metropolis. Superman was looking into it, but this little boy walks into the fire station and says, I know who set the fires. I saw who did it. It was Superman.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bendis.
Yeah, okay. That is, it's like when the kid said that Spider-Man molested him.
Well, that's what I was saying to Lilith. I said, is this going to be like the storyline from the 80s when Superman killed a version of General Zod and his 2 guys in another pocket universe because they had destroyed the whole Earth of that universe, so he killed them. And then he was so guilty about it, he was running around in his sleep as a vigilante called Gangbuster. I'm like, is this going to be Bendis? Okay. Is this going to be Bendis' thing where he's running around in his sleep setting fires or something, or is it going to be like Bizarro or something?
Yeah,
Bendis.
No, it's Cyborg Superman. It's somebody.
But the 2 biggest Superman fans I know, Tyler and Lilith, and they're just shaking. Tyler will defend anything like Superman, and even he's just like, Bendis, what are you doing? So Bendis isn't winning any of the hardcore fans. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, not for nothing. I think that Bendis, I don't even know what Bendis is trying to do. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to redefine an iconic character in his own right to make it be. He's trying to put his stamp on it and to say, these are the things I think make Superman great. And okay, any writer's going to do that. And I think, honestly, Bendis taking over Superman would have been fine, per se, if DC hadn't overhyped it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're still hyping that. Like I said, Superman #1 comes out on Wednesday, and they're still doing like 2-page ads for Superman #1. And then the first thing he does is he ships off Lois and John. Guess what? New 52, they got rid of Superman's marriage and everything. Guess what? No one liked it. The sales were down. Everything was down. They brought back the marriage. They gave them a kid, and that's what people wanted. And that's the first thing Bendis does is ship them off.
Well, yeah,
like,
because
if you want it to be right Superman, write what he is right now. See, look.
Because you know what it is? Is that's like the one thing that I guess DC told Bendis you couldn't do. You can't kill Lois and John. You can't write them out of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure, not for nothing, I'm sure what Bendis actually wanted to do was he wanted to do what Byrne did, was he got to retell the story of Superman.
Well, that's what Lilith is convinced, like he wants to be Byrne in the worst way. I know, but I wonder if that was part of the deal with them, if they offered him Superman and he said, okay, I'll do Superman, but you have to let me do what I want to do with this story.
But you know what? But they do have that editorial thing that's saying we're not rebooting rebooting our entire universe again. Like, I'm not quite sure how Byrne got to redo the origin of Superman,
because it was right after Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they were, they basically started everything over from, after the Silver Age and stuff, and so it was just timing. I think, I don't know if maybe they were looking for that and they just asked Byrne to do that, but it was right after Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's when they did their first big reboot of everything.
And for what it's worth, from Byrne's perspective, that's probably exactly why he took the job, because who wouldn't want that opportunity to really retell the story, especially because he was a fan like any other nerd. He was the guy who wondered how Superman shaved and stuff like that, and he got to write his stories about it. He got to create his universe. And certainly, if I was given the right to create a character like that was iconic, and then I get to say, and here's all the things about why this character is really this character for me.
But I mean, that was the time. That was the time to do it, because they were rebooting everything. Like a year later, Frank in the pages of Batman, Frank Miller did Batman Year One, and they did an updated origin.
Yeah, but you know what? The difference is that you can do that with any character.
Oh yeah,
you can really do you can do redefinition for any character you get. Bendis, I think maybe on a certain level is just being lazy. He's not trying to write within the confines of the continuity.
No, that's our problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, because you can get continuity confines anywhere. Mm-hmm. He came to DC. He made this deal with DC because he wanted to be outside of those confines, and DC's basically saying, no, you've got to stay within these confines because we've really done too many reboots. Our universe is about to break.
Yeah, because that was our other question. It's like, why do the 6-issue Man of Steel series? He wasn't retelling the origin or anything like that. It was all mostly present day. So why couldn't Man of Steel #1 have been his Superman #1?
Because he wanted to do something called Man of Steel. Because not for nothing, he wanted that comparison to Byrne.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same. He wasn't retelling Superman's origin.
I know, and honestly, and you know what? Not for nothing. Maybe that was again DC suits. That's the thing is, maybe. I don't know where the DC suits end and Bendis begins.
Yeah,
I don't know who's screwing it up, and it's really hard to tell. And I say that as a guy who hasn't read it, but just from what I hear from everyone who has, it's like, and like you said, even Tyler, who, is sitting there saying, you just didn't understand Zack Snyder's vision.
Exactly.
He is a guy, but Superman 3 won't defend.
No, I think you would agree he will, but.
Yeah, probably. Okay. So I don't know who is making the mistake. I don't know who is having the problem, but someone clearly is. And, that's where we're at with the whole rigmarole.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Tristan said our world is crazy and unfair. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, kids. Speaking of smoking things,
oh Lord,
I did see that you did read Cosmic Rider #1.
Cosmic Ghost Rider, yes.
Yes, Cosmic Ghost Rider.
That was awesome.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I wouldn't have picked up this book at all except for the last page. What did you think of the book as a whole?
It was interesting. Like, I guess the character has been in the Thanos book for a little bit here. I haven't read those issues, but I've heard podcasts.
There's some kind of like Thanos stories.
I've heard a podcast talking about it. So when you said, "Oh, hey, Cosmic Ghost Rider #1," I checked it out. I mean, I knew that Odin had come for him. I'd heard that on a podcast. But so yeah, that was interesting, but quite ironic. Where Odin's yelling at Frank Castle, taking the nose of that god in Valhalla because he was talking about killing kids. But once he's free of Valhalla, what's the first thing Frank Castle does? Try to go to Titan and kill baby Thanos.
Yeah. Yes. But for what it's worth, he can't do it.
No.
He is innocent. And not for nothing, for the guy who's killing the what was it, orc orphan babies or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was basically, they were like mind controlled monster babies. Mm-hmm. That they weren't innocent babies. They were just crazed, monstrous babies that he was killing. And here, but here, Ghost Rider Castle comes to the baby Thanos to kill him, and instead decides to, and of course the baby Thanos is like, "Rah!" Demon baby, and then he goes to basically give him the penance stare, but he's innocent, so it's like that,
there's nothing to see, yeah.
And so rather than kill baby Thanos, he does a whole lone wolf and cub, takes the baby Thanos with him. So I think that's just going to be a hilarious buddy comedy.
It's like Cosmic Nomad. It's like Cosmic Nomad. Remember when Jackman wrote it?
Oh, yeah, with little Bucky. I remember that was the other thing. I was like, it's Baby Bucky.
Yes.
I was trying to be hip saying Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yes.
But yes, it was Baby Bucky and Nomad. We'll never understand how she's a grown woman now, despite, time doesn't make any sense in the Marvel Universe sometimes. Because people do age, but other people don't.
Wait, she did age?
Time is not a constant.
A little bit, but I didn't think she was, grown.
No, she was a grown woman because when they actually killed Jack Monroe,
yeah,
she actually came. This was at the start of the Winter Soldier arc. She came to Cap and says, "You don't know me. I was Baby Bucky. I was the baby that he was taking care of." And she was, she was at least supposed to be 21. She wasn't 14.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, was that Baby Bucky, or was that Bucky from the Heroes Reborn universe? I know that
she comes in later too. She actually becomes the new Nomad.
Yes,
and
yes,
then
yes.
She gets stuck in dimensions, the kind of death where you're stuck in between dimensions, so that a writer can bring her back later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, very much like the old Nomad comic. So that's what I'm hoping for from this. Who's the writer on this anyway?
Was it Donny Cates?
Okay, Donny Cates. Yeah, Donny Cates is our writer. So
yeah, I believe he's the one writing Thanos. Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a lot of fun in this book for a book about a cosmic spirit of vengeance that is embodied by Frank Castle. It's kind of a silly, wacky book. It was fun. But
the minute Odin said, "I can send you anywhere in time and space," I'm like, oh no, they're going to drop him in the modern day Marvel universe. Watch.
Well, no, actually, no, he's in the past of the Marvel universe.
I know.
Which is its own bag of hammers.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you. You know what was my absolute favorite book this week?
What?
This one.
Elvira,
Mistress of the Dark #1. Okay, this is by Dynamite. I don't know who Dynamite is. I know who Dynamite is. They do a lot of licensed properties, I believe, and they're doing her, and she is awesome in this story. Apparently, what they're having her do, there's a magical MacGuffin coffin because she's doing a film where she's the star of the film. So right there, it's a fantasy. Elvira had one movie. I loved it, but she only had one movie. She goes back to her trailer, and there is a magical MacGuffin coffin in her trailer that takes her to the past, where she meets Mary Shelley, and then her and Percy Bysshe Shelley and everyone else, and then they meet this guy, Pornstache. Where have I seen a picture of him before?
He's not that guy from Ghostbusters 2, is he?
No, with the big porn stash? No. That's Vlad Dracul.
Ah!
Yes. They don't ever use that name, though. They're very careful about that kind of stuff. They eventually defeat him through vile trickery, as you do. And honestly, I don't know what that's going to do, but they put him in the MacGuffin coffin and send him to somewhere. I don't know where he's going to, but it's got to be somewhere. And throughout this whole thing, she's keeps on breaking the fourth wall and all this kind of stuff, which is great, which I love. It very much reminded me of Elvira in Elvira's House of Mystery. If you ever read Elvira's House of Mystery, which I did, which I loved, it was great. The heck with you, Kane. She was better than you. You too, Abel. Although Abel really handled the House of Secrets. But and then when she gets into her magic MacGuffin coffin again, she gets introduced to Edgar Allan Poe. Oh. So that is issue 2. I can't wait for it. Very excited about our Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. That made me very happy. And like I said, the fourth walling of it the whole time, talking about the writers and the comics, and also referencing to the readers. Yeah, but a lot of you guys wish this was in this was a movie, not a comic book, and you could run it in slow-mo. She makes a lot of double entendre, as is her way. It's lovely. It just, they capture that spirit of Elvira so well. Who's our writer on this? Our writer is David Avalone, or Avalone. I don't know if you pronounce the last E. And Dave Acosta is our artist. Just, they both do a really great job on this. If you like Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, if you ever read Elvira's House of Mystery, or if you like that fourth wall breaky, fun, Deadpool-y, Gwenpool-y, what's that girl from DC? I forget her name. Harley Quinn. Well,
okay. I was going to say Harley.
Yeah, Harley Quinn. I forget her name. This is Dynamite's answer to it, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, no codes in it. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, if you got the time, read it in the store, or go to your local library, because they still have comic books in libraries, believe it or not. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about as far as comic books is?
Did you read Captain America #1 by our favorite Ta-Nehisi Coates? Yeah.
Yes, I have that. That's on the pull list now, because it was sold out when I got there, and I was like, oh, is Captain America come out this week? I thought it was coming out this week. Well, it's not here, so I guess I didn't know that this was the first one with Ta-Nehisi.
I mean,
I tell you, this Ta-Nehisi Coates guy, I think he might have a future in writing. I really do. I think he's got the chops for it.
And I knew he was going to catch you. I mean, we got old woman Sharon Carter back. Thunderbolt Ross is back.
Oh yeah. And interesting enough, Baron von Strucker is all redeemed now. Mm-hmm. Did you catch that thing there? Because he was leading Hydra Resisted out. He was fighting Hydra splinters.
Hashtag not my Hydra.
Yeah, hashtag not my Hydra. You know what was my big disappointment in this? And maybe I'm wrong.
What?
The vampire lady that the other Black Widow, the Black Widow dressed in white that was captured by the Hydra.
Okay, yeah.
And she sucks the life out of them. Mm-hmm. I was very disappointed that Ta-Nehisi Coates did not use Clairvoyant, who was the 1940s Black Widow, who had made a deal with the devil or Mephisto or whomever you want to say, and basically was like stealing people's souls and killing them and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, unless he used Selene, I mean, she's like an X-Men X-Force villain, so.
Oh, okay. So it's someone who does exist.
Yeah.
I know, but I just thought it would have been nice because that is, I believe that's supposed to be the blonde Black Widow, correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I don't think they ever call her by name.
She calls her by her name.
Same. Oh, Alexa. I don't think that was her.
Alexa. I thought Alexa was the. I thought that was the other Black Widow, but maybe I'm mistaken there.
Well, I mean, did you read that?
I'm mistaken, but I thought that would have been.
I mean, did you read that whole Tales of Suspense arc a couple months back?
I haven't gotten the chance to yet, really.
Because but I mean, spoilers. I mean, it was a Black Widow story with Hawkeye and Winter Soldier, but there was like a bunch of Black Widow clones running around, so it could even be a clone of one of them.
So I was kind of hoping they would have original Black Widow back, because especially since the power set was the same, I thought that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not what he did. It still was a great story. It's neat. It's great the way that he is.
We got a bunch of nukes.
Yeah, we got a bunch of clone nukes, I guess. Clone cyborg nukes. Man, I gotta tell you something. You know what I'm kind of like interested to see if they decide to do?
What?
Is to bring back Flash Thompson as the new nuke.
Yeah, I know you had that theory, maybe.
Yeah, well, he's dead and he's a soldier, and parts is parts.
So, I mean, when they originally did Nuke for the Daredevil storyline, I believe that was the whole thing. It's like, Nuke was like the government's attempt at that point to like redoing the super soldier program. Yeah,
exactly. And it also makes me wonder if in our Jessica Jones story next season we might get, or if they maybe put him into the Daredevil or that would be so amazing if they bring Wilson back as Nuke in the third season of Daredevil.
Yes.
Oh, that would be awesome. No flag tattoo though. Just have him show up.
Oh, we're getting. Oh, Bullseye's in Daredevil season 3. I wonder if he could be like a recipient of that program, maybe.
Yeah, well, it will be interesting to see what they decide to do with it. Anyway, so that's that. I read Immortal Hulk #2. Ooh. Again, okay, this is the thing, and here's the thing. It's like, it annoys me, but it doesn't annoy me that we don't have Jackie McGee in it.
She's in Florida.
Yeah, she's in Florida, yeah. Well, no, I mean, honestly, she's not chasing. We don't know if she's chasing the Hulk. And it would have been nice to see her in the second book to let us know that, yes, she is going to be a recurring character. Now, in the 70s series, Jack McGee wasn't in every episode.
Yeah,
but they did try to use him as much as they could. And I would have really wished they had used her in this. One thing I like about this is I do feel like they are trying to invoke that 70s, David Banner wandering the earth kind of thing.
Oh, definitely. Because did you catch the name of, was it the father or the son? But did you catch the name of
what was the name?
Or I forget if it was the father or the son, but wasn't the name Del Fry? Wasn't that the name?
Oh, yes, it was.
Wasn't that the name of the guy who made himself a second Hulk in this TV series? Yeah.
Yes, it was. And I knew I remembered that from somewhere. Yes.
There's definitely a big fan of the 70s series here, yes.
And I wonder, because we do see that the son reaches out of his coffin after he's brought back. So I wonder if we are going to have him in the next issue or nothing. The Walking Ghost, yeah. And then we get that as our cover shot next week or next month. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. Oh, I knew and like I said, it's just that definite callback to it. And there's a certain aspect of it that I also thought was interesting where they're saying, like, he's still a physicist, but he's not that,
he's not the guy building personal force fields and like he was. Yeah.
Yeah. So they sort of put him back in that spot. And of course, now the Hulk of course, we got Hulk doing what Lou never got to, which is a talking, thinking Hulk. And I love that really Kirby-esque design on the Hulk.
Yes, especially
no
the
chest
face.
Hair, though.
What?
Want that chest hair.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think about that? Is like Banner kind of lost some intelligence, and he's like, I think the Hulk's getting smarter.
Yeah, well, I think that there's,
Is it like a balance? There's only like so many IQ points to go around, so if Hulk gets smarter, Banner gets dumber?
Well, I mean, actually, what it reminds me of is Young Frankenstein, where the monster got some of his intelligence, and then, well, what did you get from the monster? It's a great joke in Young Frankenstein with Peter Boyle, but it's a very interesting question here because what we see is that the Hulk wants to be a hero. The Hulk is, because he says there's that itch in my head. The Hulk sees something that Hulk wants to do this.
Is he a hero or like an anti-hero? Because like even in the first issue, he didn't kill that guy, but he broke like every bone in his body, though.
Yes, but he also was fighting bikers, which is a classic 70s Hulk move. It's interesting how they're playing it because it does feel like they're trying to have a more grounded Banner dealing with, we must let the world think that he is dead. Although he did tell them that this is Robert Bruce Banner. So he blows his cover almost immediately. Although I suppose, those in the know, because the Avengers know. And if the Avengers know, whatever is S.H.I.E.L.D. is in the know too. Although one thing I loved about Ta-Nehisi Coates is how he managed to describe Washington as being in chaos and the current guy in the office, and all this kind of stuff without ever calling it out and without actually having it be anything other than, hey, the country was just taken over by Hydra. What are you talking about? Of course the government's in chaos. Of course there's all this stuff. Yeah. I'm not saying anything political,
Is that who got a Trump pardoned? Thunderbolt Ross.
Apparently Thunderbolt Ross, well, actually what they said is they got everyone pardoned. Anyone that fought Hydra got a pardon.
Yeah.
You get a pardon, and you get a pardon, and you get a pardon. Maybe it's President Oprah in this universe. We don't know.
But then I guess, because of his face and everything, thought Ross was like, yeah, told Captain America, yeah, we really can't use you. We'll take Sharon Carter. They were even taking the Winter Soldier. They're giving him like a pass too, but they're like, no, Cap.
Well, they just can't have him in the crux of it. And not for nothing, as everyone says, Cap isn't a spy.
Yeah.
Cap wants to be a hero, and the people in power don't trust heroes. Much like we said in Incredibles 2, or we didn't say, but it was said in Incredibles 2, politicians don't trust people who want to do good just to do good.
They don't understand.
Which actually goes back to my original fan theory on the Incredibles that only good people get superpowers. That even though Buddy says not all superheroes have superpowers, it's clear that all people with powers become superheroes. That if you get powers, you don't get powers unless you are a good person who deserves them. If you're a good person, you can still become a hero if you use your intellect and such to become a Batman or an Iron Man in that universe. But if you are not a good person, you will not get powers in that universe. Because there was no supervillain relocation. Remember that.
Well, I mean, I'm glad
there are protocols to handle tech guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad Ta-Nehisi Coates is doing that with Captain America, because I like when they write him more as a superhero than like just like a soldier working for S.H.I.E.L.D. or someone, or the government.
Yeah, and you go right down to him fighting muggers, which I thought was great.
Yes.
Honestly, when I saw that scene of him fighting, I want that in Captain America 4. I want to see Cap trying to figure out what he's to do, you know. After Infinity War, what does Cap do? Oh, that would be a great time for him to team up with Daredevil.
Oh, yeah. Or, yeah, like S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, you know what?
Or S.H.I.E.L.D.'s either still gone or Captain America's not working for them. Yeah, that's what the movie I want to see. What does Steve Rogers do when there's, you know, no, he's not working for the military or S.H.I.E.L.D. or, yeah, what does he do?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Like, what do you do after you just restored the universe? Yeah, and a little stuff there about some other stuff. Okay. No. Yeesh. I love these kids, but they got the handbug. Okay. I do want to get to my fan theories.
Okay.
So let's get to my fan theories, because I'll tie in my second fan theory into Doctor Strange, because it comes up, because it actually is very... So the first fan theory, the first thing that... Because I got into this whole argument, and if you go to the Facebook page of CBR, you can see it in all its glory. I am kicking butt and taking names, because people just refuse to accept facts as presented. So, as I've said before, when Thanos defeats the Hulk in Infinity War, in that first fight, it is because he is using the Power Stone. And all these people are like, no, Thanos can beat the Hulk just on his own, because Thanos is just that... It's like Thanos is Batman, apparently. You know, and Thanos is an Eternal in the comic books, but not in the movie. So any of that Eternal strength that he might have had isn't there. He is simply a Titan,
and guess what?
Which is strong and powerful. Yeah.
And guess what? In the MCU, he wasn't going head-to-head with anybody until he was rocking at least one or two of those stones.
Yeah, well, I mean, I really don't know enough about Thanos to know if he ever fought the Hulk without the glove.
Well, no, I'm just saying in the MCU, I mean, he wasn't fighting anyone face-to-face until he got at least one or two of those stones. I mean, he was working through Loki and Ronan and...
Well, didn't Squirrel Girl defeat him at one point? I don't think he had the glove at that point, so that was why.
Well, I was just talking MCU. I wasn't even talking comics, yeah.
In the comic book. Oh, okay. In the movie. Yeah, well, this guy was saying in the comics,
yeah.
Thanos could fight the Hulk to a standstill without the glove. I'm like, okay, well, that's the comic books. He's an Eternal in the comic books. He's not in the movies.
I mean, in his first appearance, I think Iron Man was fighting him.
Yeah, no, he's an old Iron Man villain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Iron Man can handle...
villain who got a lot of power upgrades over the years.
Iron Man can handle him, yeah. I mean, no.
Yeah. No, but basically their whole argument is that they don't see the stone glow while he's fighting the Hulk. Now, I don't have the movie in front of me. I've seen it 3 times. I can't say that the stone glows or does not glow. And I'm not going to say the stone doesn't glow at all, because there's only one stone in his gauntlet, and we never see him with the stone right up to his face where you would see that glow, you know?
I mean, I know he used it for a power blast, but can you also use it like more passively to power up your body instead of shooting blasts? Yeah,
exactly. In the books, you do. In the books, that's actually its main power.
Yeah.
In the books, because, like I said, I've often said that wasn't supposed to be the Power Stone. They kind of had to rewrite it to be the Power Stone. And so in the comic books, that's why the Champion got it. Because when they distributed all the stones among the Elders of the Universe, the Champion got the Power Stone because he wanted to be able to punch the hardest. And that's the thing. And everyone said, well, no, it was supposed to show how good of a fighter Thanos was. And this was my whole thing, because there's a whole thing here. So these are the arguments. You can't say it was to show that Thanos was just such a good fighter, because the Hulk had previously faced a great fighter too in Emil Blonsky when he first got the super soldier serum.
Yes.
So at that Cap level, I mean, he lands his blows on the Hulk, but it's not defeating him because it's the Hulk. And then even when Emil gets powered up to be the Abomination, and so he can match the Hulk's strength, even then he can't defeat the Hulk because an enraged Hulk is too powerful.
Yes.
And he doesn't put him out as quickly as Thanos does. The point is that Thanos puts him out so quickly because he's using the stone and because he's beating the Hulk. And everyone says, and I say, and he clenches his fist, and the clenching his fist is what lets you know that the Power Stone is active. And they say, but if there's no glow, just because he closes his fist doesn't mean that the Power Stone is active. And it's like, but he does make a clicking and a whole thing with clenching his fist. They want to argue that. But then here is how you know he was using the Power Stone when he fought the Hulk with his fist clenched, because later in the film, Captain America holds his fist open.
Yes.
In fact, people hold his fist open throughout it. And because they can hold his fist open, you can see that he is really, really strong, but not superhumanly strong.
Well, yeah, isn't that what Tony Stark said at that point when they were on that planet, when they were all holding him back before Star-Lord got him all angry? Was he like, don't let him close his hand?
Yeah, well, exactly. Because if he closes his hand, that's how you can activate the stones. Because when you close your hand, it activates the stones. And the thing is that he is strong, he is powerful. He may even be superhuman. What I said is he's just not super tight. He's not like, he doesn't have a higher level strength than what anybody on Titan would have, which is probably still strong because there are a bunch of big people on that planet we saw.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's big. I mean, probably without the gauntlet, he could probably like overpower Captain America, whoever. But yeah, I don't think he's Hulk level.
Well, he does. He does because when Captain America's holding his hand, he does lay him out with one punch, but not enough of a punch to like melt his brain.
Yeah,
it's just a punch knock him away because he doesn't have that strength because he can't close his fist. And this is the thing. This is what I've always said, that these things that he does with it, they all have these limited ranges. Like when he pushes the because he uses the reality stone to throw the Hulk in the Hulkbuster, or Banner in the Hulkbuster armor, into the rocks, then we see after he walks away, that reality alteration stops. He comes back out of the rocks. And so this is this whole thing. This is why we know that Thanos is using the Power Stone when he's fighting the Hulk. That's why the Hulk gets defeated. That's why the Hulk wouldn't come back out either. Because the Hulk faced a power that was so much stronger than he could ever hope to be. And even if you're going to say, Thanos is, Abomination level strength, because, Abomination did get the upper hand in that fight when they fought in Incredible Hulk. The Hulk still didn't say, well, I can't ever fight the Abomination again. He's too powerful. No, the Hulk got right back up when he got mad enough and ended the fight.
Yeah, no.
I love you, buddy.
Yeah, no, even though he was getting pummeled, the Hulk was like, eventually I'll overpower and, beat down the Abomination. I think, like I said, this is the first time the Hulk, not Banner, this is the first time the Hulk has ever stared like death in the face, and, the first time he ever actually considered, this could kill me. That's what he's scared. It's scared. And no, don't give me your internet theories that the Hulk and Banner have been a Skrull since the Ragnarok. I don't buy it. That's a theory. That's a theory online. Yeah, that they've been a Skrull since Ragnarok. No. The evidence does not prove that. No.
Literally no evidence even suggests that, because
I think that's
that would mean that the Skrulls have unlocked Hulk technology.
Well, that's what they were saying. Maybe that's the fanboy saying, oh, that's why he couldn't overpower Thanos, because he was just a Skrull who could change his size, but not his. And that's why Thor was able to like smack him around during Ragnarok. It's like no,
he was able to smack him around because he was Thor, and not for nothing. Hulk landed enough punches on him. I think the Hulk would notice that you don't seem as strong as you used to be, Hulk.
Exactly.
Because let's not forget, this is not the first time the Hulk has punched Thor.
Yes.
The Hulk and Thor have traded blows on many times. If the Hulk was significantly less strong, Thor would have noticed. Thor would have even made comment on it. No, it was clearly the Hulk. It's not a Skrull. They don't have the Skrulls yet, so you can't back on that in. Anyway,
well, I mean, they haven't mentioned or shown the Skrulls, but I mean, they're showing up in Captain Marvel. Yeah, the only thing I could say is that maybe they could do that is that they take the Hulk at the end of Age of Ultron, and then he's gone for 2 years until he shows up in Ragnarok. So that's the only... And
he fell through a wormhole.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how he fell through a wormhole, we don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They haven't revealed it, and they didn't show it, but yeah.
And maybe he just flew to the Bermuda Triangle. Well, actually, no. I believe what they kind of suggested was that someone found the Hulk and brought the Hulk to the world, because they said that Valkyrie brought him there. Now, did he fall through a hole, or did Valkyrie actually go out hunting for him? Does Valkyrie just wait for great champions to show up, or does she go hunting for champions?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the thing. And of course, it's the Collector's technology. Oh, sorry, the Grandmaster's technology that allows him to remain the Hulk.
All right. Well, you said you could tie this into Doctor Strange #2, which had the time stone in it. So
yes. So this is because this is what it is. So that was that sort of it. But then at the very end of it, someone made this comment about, because I made this statement of the problem with, of course, the real problem with cutting off, because the whole thing that started this whole conversation was, I said, I always complain about why didn't Thor go for the head, because everyone always wants to blame Star-Lord, say, well, but why didn't Thor go for the head? And I was thinking, well, for that matter, why didn't Star-Lord go for the head? Why didn't Star-Lord take out his laser gun and put one right between the guy's eyes? For that matter, why didn't Tony Stark, while he's trying to pull this glove off of him, cutting laser, there we go, problem solved. And we even saw in how it should have ended, the whole gag where Doctor Strange opens the portal, then closes the portal on his arm so that his arm falls off, just like we saw with a Black Dwarf in a previous, as we saw happen to Black Dwarf earlier in that a movie. But then it struck me, this is the end game. So, in all of the 14 million times that Doctor Strange witnessed this battle, he said we only won once.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Well, there's a lot of things that could mean.
I thought it meant there was like 14 million different possibilities, and he only found one outcome of victory out of those 14
million. Well, how do we define victory?
Life. Thanos doesn't destroy half the life in the universe. I call that a victory.
Destroying half the life in the universe, yes, but why does it have to be Thanos? So let me give you this thing. Let's say that Star-Lord doesn't punch, and it's not that he punched Thanos. Let's be clear. It's not that he punched Thanos. It's that he punched Mantis accidentally. Mantis is holding him in. Because he punches him a few times, and she's like, please, that makes it a little bit harder for me to do this. Yes, I did this to Celestials. I did this to a Celestial against his will all the time, and Thanos is no freaking Celestial.
Yeah.
But it's still, it makes it a little harder. Please don't do that. And, but then he just keeps on punching, and accidentally her hand gets in the way, and that makes her go, which breaks the thing, and then Thanos goes, what now? Like some Cosmic Barney Fife. And that's what makes it fail. Not that he's punching him, but that they don't pull the glove off in time because he accidentally punches Mantis, which tells you that based on that, how is that the only time that he doesn't punch Mantis? If there's 14 million times that they've looked at this, it's such a random thing. How could that be the thing that went different this time?
I don't think that was the time.
Well, exactly. But this is the thing. If they were to pull the glove off, they defeat Thanos, but now they have this glove. Now Tony Stark has an Infinity Gauntlet. What was the last thing that happened when Tony Stark had a stone for too long?
When did he have a stone?
Starts with a U.
Wait, what?
When Tony Stark had the Mind Stone
overnight.
Ultron,
yes.
And now he says, I have the gauntlet that, Etri built, plus, at this point, 4 of the 6 Infinity Stones, and the 5th one's right over there in that guy's locket.
All right. Your logic is flawed here because isn't the theory that Doctor Strange gave the last stone to Thanos because maybe the one outcome he saw for a possible victory, they needed Tony Stark alive because Thanos was about to kill Tony Stark until he gave him the stone. Who said it's Tony Stark who gets the gauntlet and goes nuts? What if Peter Parker picks it up and says, "Oh hey, I'll bring back my uncle." Oh hey, wait, exactly. You have a dead person too. What if instead of killing half the universe, what if Spider-Man starts bringing back like another?
Understand the problem. The problem isn't the gauntlet, the problem isn't the stones or Thanos. The problem is the gauntlet.
Yes.
And when Thanos snaps his fingers, what happened to the gauntlet?
It got all messed up.
It got burnt up. It blew its circuits. And the reason why it had to end this way, why the one way it actually worked, was because when Thanos used the gauntlet, all the stones at once, it destroyed the gauntlet. The gauntlet can't be used again in this way. And that's what needed to happen. Okay, let me do my theory, Tristan.
Okay, so what you're saying is if they next movie they get everyone out of the Soul Stone, Thanos just can't snap his fingers again and undo what they did.
More importantly, Tony Stark can't.
Nobody can. Yes.
No one can. Not even Thor, because it was someone had made the point. Well, Thor is the only guy that would have the moral fortitude at this point to not use it. I said, yes, he's only screwed up with 2 other Infinity Stones, giving one to the Collector and one to Tony Stark. But he's probably learned from his mistakes. But even if he has the gauntlet,
maybe only a Thanos or Thor can do it, or maybe a Hulk. But maybe you need to be physically strong to survive all that cosmic energy. Like if Tony Stark did it, maybe it would kill him.
Maybe, or maybe not. I mean, I don't know exactly how far that's going to go.
Yeah.
But I think more importantly, the temptation is there. Because let's face it, if it melts your brain, having someone with a melted brain and an Infinity Gauntlet isn't helpful either.
No.
Justin, what was your fan theory? Oh, never. You don't want to tell me your fan theory? Oh, I'm sorry, but I was in the middle of my fan theory. Oh, now he's sad.
Huh?
Come here. No. Anyway, so now I've ruined my child's childhood. Okay, but no. So the whole point is that basically in 14 million probabilities, they actually did defeat Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
But defeating Thanos didn't solve the problem, because if it was just defeating Thanos, that would have been much easier. Because, like I said, open the portal, close the portal, chop off his hand, grab the gauntlet. But now it's this massive temptation.
So basically, half the plan's already accomplished. The gauntlet's destroyed. Now they just got to get everyone out of the stone.
Or quite frankly, if the gauntlet's destroyed and can't be used, whatever happens next is a victory.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we're going to get everyone out of the stone, so that's fine. Or bring everyone back. Like I said, once you separate the reality stone from it, everyone should come back into existence.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is not to have a method for people to utilize these stones, because these stones are dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
These stones are hidden away and kept separate for a reason. There's a reason Odin decided to leave the Tesseract on Earth hidden away.
Yeah.
On some podunk backwater planet that no one would think to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing. Is like these Infinity Stones were things that had to be kept separate, kept apart, and not used, because the power is too great. But the second you have a gauntlet, you have to destroy that gauntlet more than anything else. Okay, so that's my fan theory. I'd love to hear what Tristan's fan theory was, because it sounded like you had a flaw in my theory. Do you want to tell me your flaw, Tristan? Was I wrong? Come on, buddy. Okay. We're not going to get Toxin Gamer 13's fan theory this week, but if he tells it to me later, I will relay it next week. But this was how it ties into Doctor Strange. Because, of course, in Doctor Strange this week, it is about getting the Time Stone.
Yes, from the Super Skrull.
And how the Time Stone, which should have been destroyed, which he had hoped had been destroyed, isn't destroyed. Mm-hmm. And, as he says, this power is too great even for me.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just...
Well, he said
these things...
Yeah,
exactly. These things are too dangerous. We need to find a way to deal with this. So that's how it ties into Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was a good book this week. We fight the Super Skrull. That was fun. Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone in a way that he didn't in
the movie,
Infinity War. Which, again, gives you that point that, you know what? As Thanos said, the most powerful weapon you have, and you didn't use it once, tells you that it was never about the weapon. That this whole battle was probably just a delaying tactic for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
That this had to go in a certain way, and the only way to do it was to keep Thanos busy long enough that they do lose.
Yes.
And then, like I said, 14 million times, probably they won.
Mm-hmm.
But the one time when they lose is the one time where the universe can survive. Because otherwise, the gauntlet falls into the wrong hands. Again, Tony Stark's hands. As Lisa Simpson once said, Mom, Dad is holding a weapon that could be horribly dangerous in the wrong hands, and he's holding it. Yeah, so that is the crux of that biscuit there. Anything else you want to talk about this week, Philip?
No, I think that's about it.
That is about it. Sunday we talk about
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
That show, that thing. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yes, Ant-Man and the Wasp. We're going to talk about that Sunday. Saturday I'm talking with Maz, but that's not live. That is recorded on Skype. But I don't know how to do these whole hangout things. And I don't want to learn, you crazy whippersnapper kids. Technology is bad. I'm Amish. Okay, Phil, if people would like to reach out to you with that newfangled telephone or the emails or any of these fancy twitterings that the kids do nowadays, how can they find you?
Reach out to me, especially if you're a comic creator or an actor on one of these shows or movies. NightwingPDP@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am @NightwingPDP. Follow Superconnectivity on Facebook, facebook.com/Superconnectivity Podcast, @SuperConnectPod on Twitter, and the voicemail 614, it's right there, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our Moz and Paz once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. See if you can guess what Tristan's secret fan theory was. And, of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet Cloak and Dagger, which we didn't get to talk about, though I'm still sad that they killed our drunken lawyer friend. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEssser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. I'll tell you, after they killed that guy, it's like Game of Thrones for me. I don't trust them to let anyone live. Thank you for connecting with us, ladies and gentlemen. Please super connect with us again. Good night.
I think O'Reilly's going to kill that dirty cop then.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to have to see what happens. That cop. Ooh, he's just racking up the... Well, you know what, man? I think there's that thing that you are better to die than to go into the cloak, man. And that, we saw that one poor kid's nightmares, man. That was just crazy nightmares that kid had. At one point, I thought he got turned into a lawn jockey. It was weird. I don't know.
On and on
Crazy
and
stuff.
on. Crazy.
Yes.